After the last failure, I decided to regroup and contemplate my life choices. I also decided that if I was going to be happy with this repair, I really needed to go through and fix all these larger battery cables and larger cable covers that were worn out. I didn't want to put rubber back because I knew it would fail like these did eventually, and after doing a bit of late night Amazon searching, I was able to locate some silicone ones that should probably outlast the life of this lift. Okay, I got my new hoses back from the hydraulic shop, so let's get them installed. So one thing that I wanted to know, I took a minute to adjust these two hoses to make sure they're not touching each other. There's about an 1/8 of an inch gap between there, maybe even a little more, maybe closer to a 1/4 inch, just so when this vibrates it won't rub on this hose and cause long-term damage. This brand new hose is actually nicked up right here. That's kind of a bummer, but it's probably okay.
The following clip exposes the dangers of working on a wooden trailer deck. Viewer discretion is advised.
It went through here and into me. Oh, God. I need, like...
pliers?
Oh.
Oh, you need to go get a tetanus shot.
All right, now that I've got the new hoses roughly in place, I want to translate the markings on the old hoses to the new hoses where the clamps went that hold it to the body of the scissor lift, kind of keep it from tangling. I also have some rash guard that I bought. I'm going to put on there just as a kind of a backup safety measure. Hopefully that'll help. The other big thing I did is these new hoses, they had a special hose at Parker that is supposed to be for mechanical or when it's going through a pulley system or it's getting flexed a lot. These are flexed continuously and they had a metal braid in it which fatigues over time, which caused the failure that we saw in the previous hoses. These new ones don't have metal in them. They're like a Kevlar weave or they're some sort of fiber weave inside the hose that's supposed to be a lot better for long-term flexing. Hopefully that will solve that problem from that happening again. As well as adding the anti-abrasion, hopefully these hoses will live for the rest of the life of this. So let's get this installed. We just chased the post guy down. So here's another controller. Well, my camera stopped recording for some reason, but basically connect to the power, still flashing a problem. Same exact component on this unit has failed as in mine. So can't lift the part number, can't figure that out. Ugh, so frustrating. Back to the drawing board. That's kind of messed up. See, it's all bent. Alright, so one thing that I wanted to replace is the latch mechanism. When I looked at JLG, they want $70 for this part, and I need 2 of them. I think I found pretty much the exact same one, except not painted, chrome finish, for $12 on Amazon. And I believe these are the original manufacturer of these guys. I think it's Southco. I don't know. I'll put a link in the description down there to where you can get these. Look pretty much identical. This is a little beefier on the original part, but that's the only thing I could see is a difference.
Look at the size of that boy's head. Shh. I'm not kidding, it's like an orange on a toothpick.
You gotta give the boy a complex.
Well, that's a huge noggin. It's a virtual planetoid. Has its own weather system. Heed, move!
Well, that was offside, wasn't it? He'll be crying himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow.
My buddy ended up needing his trailer back, and with no solution on the horizon, I had to move the lift to a new location. I just wanted to show you guys just how truly heavy and awkward this thing was to move, as my cat could barely keep from tipping. I believe this unit weighs somewhere around 5,000 pounds, or around 2,200 kilograms for my metric friends. Alright, got my chips from DigiKey. While I was working on other parts of the lift, I was also busy trying to identify the correct replacement chip for this board, and while I did not document a lot of that process, I can summarize it by telling you that I made calls to JLG and found out that the board was contract built by the Industrial Controls Division of Bosch. I talked to a few techs there, and although they were very friendly, the board was built in the 90s and no one had any access to those drawings. I also was trying the heavy equipment forums as well as many other websites trying to find electrical schematics of the board with zero luck. Then by sheer dumb luck, a miracle happened. When I was showing the board off to a coworker, the sunlight caught the busted component in just the right way that I saw a partial glimpse of a part number. Keep in mind that putting the chip under the microscope had yielded no results either. So after trying a lot of different possible combinations with the partial part number, I was able to conclude that the part number was VN31. I was able to find the specs for this and found out that it was a high-side solid-state relay made by ST Microelectronics. This company is a very large manufacturer of components, and after a bit more research, I found that they did not make this type of chip for very long. This kind of led me to believe that perhaps they had a defect in this chip making process and decided to abandon the chip line. Once again, this is only speculation. If anyone has any info on this, please let me know down in the comments. So now that I had identified the old chip, this is where I had a bit of a dilemma. I did find stock of these old chips online, so the question was, did I want to put back a known working chip with the risk that someday it would probably fail again like this? Or did I want to try to find a better chip that would be more reliable? Of course, if you know me by now, that's the option I picked. With the help of a friend and a lot more research, we nailed it down to this new chip, the BTS441RG by Infineon. It seemed to be better in every way and was from a chip manufacturer that had been making this exact chip for about 10 years and was still in production. I'll leave a link to the chip's datasheets in the description for the electrical geeks out there that want to compare the specs. So I did order a through-hole mount version of this. DigiKey was the only one that had surface mount versions that I could get in the United States pretty easily. So I put that on there. I've kind of modified the other leg so I could get it on there, so I could at least test it. So yeah, let's test this. Let's put this in and test this. I wanted to talk about this LED for a second. The control board does have a bit of logic to it and reports the status of the machine/control board via a series of blinks. Here's a quick excerpt from the manual just to show you what the different type of blinking patterns can mean. You might hear me refer to the different errors later, and it is based off the LED pattern that I see. The fact that it's showing solid is a great sign. However, the previous chip I installed showed the same thing. You got that temporary component in there. This is the moment of truth to see if it works. I'm going to connect the power and please let the nightmares of this machine be over. No.
You hurt your bum bum.
Yeah, I know what I heard. I'm gonna pull the e-stop out. I'll just back up in case I have to jump out of here. Connector says it's good. I think I'm gonna say drive. Oh, I do have an error message here. 1231. Go look up that error code. So this is what happens when you go a long time. When you're waiting for components, you don't remember what you did last. So the good news is, I disconnected the contactor to test it with a meter and never put it back on the contactor. Let's get these on here. And these are unbelievably difficult to get to. I might have to... Yeah, I'm going to have to take those off to get to it. Alright, slight oversight, but it's good because we know what could possibly be wrong. So hopefully that was it. Now hopefully the nightmares will be over. Now it has an error message. 1, 2, 3, 1. Same error message. So just to speed things along, I'm going to summarize what I did next. I got the other control board and replaced the control chip and put it back in a lift just to make sure that maybe something else wasn't wrong with this board. And sure enough, the other board failed too. So I got the scope out and started probing control signals to see where things were starting to break down on the control board. I determined that the CPU was not sending the signal to the new chip to engage it. So I speculated that when the chip exploded, it probably sent voltage down the control pin and damaged the CPU. To test that theory, I hooked up the control pin of the newly installed chip to an external power supply so I could trigger the chip with 5 volts manually just to make sure that things would start working. I'm gonna start the chip up. Through the contactor engage. Beacon's flashing. Disable the contactor. I'm gonna push drive. Contactor. Okay. So.
It hasn't done that before.
Now. So let's go up.
Who's gasping out there? Stop it!
Let's go down. Yeah, see it is. Something that's preventing the down. It's saying that something is telling it not to go. See, contactor goes off. Push the button. Contactor engage.
Oh, it is now. Do you want me to stop it? You want me to chuck it?
No, but it's spinning now.
Yes. Now it's going backwards. Now it's going forwards. Ooh. Oh, doing a sexy dance. Huzzah!
I forgot that this guy mentioned this came out of a unit that had a power deck extension. you can program these with the JLG control software to enable those features. So this probably has that feature enabled, which is why it's not letting it go down. According to the error message, one of the that's flashing, which is 2-5, one of the possible error codes that thinks the deck is power extended. So since this doesn't have a cutoff switch, I think it's waiting for that contact closure. My buddy thinks we might be able to get a microcontroller to replace this one because it seems like that's probably what the problem is. So see what we can do next. One more thing, since this has a capacitor bank, a very large capacitor bank, I've unplugged it, disconnected it. I'm gonna let that probably sit overnight for those to discharge just to be safe. I'm ready to be done with this. All right, so I got my chips from China. So the big deal about this is I found these chips in the US, but the problem is because they're through-hole, most people have gone to surface mount. The through-hole ones, you had to buy a minimum order quantity. I think the lowest one, it was like 144 at like $4 each. So I had to buy them from China. It took like 2 weeks to get here. Previous ones are surface mount, the ones that I could get, that I just got a few because they were cheap enough that I could start testing with. I'm glad I did because I found out this wasn't the only problem. Look at one of these chips versus the surface mount. You can see the surface mount, the VCC pin or the input power pin doesn't connect, so you have to kind of bridge that. The rest of the pins come down. Through-hole mount is the exact same form factor as the other one, so this is going to be perfect. Let's talk about the CPU for a moment. This could have been a real stumbling block, but luckily none of the information was scraped off of it, so I was able to pull the datasheet. And the big win here is that it doesn't have any onboard memory. All of that is side-loaded from this memory chip here, which means that if I found this chip, I should just be able to put in another one and everything should just start up and just work in theory. They do make this chip still, but it has onboard memory. You know, they've gotten rid of these chips. I didn't want to buy that because then I was at risk that it still wouldn't work the same. There could have been some other issues. So luckily I found new old stock of this somewhere in Taiwan that I ordered, and that took a couple weeks to get here. So in theory, it has been swapped now. I took it over to my buddy Kevin's house, who has all of the stuff he needs for a surface mount. He did a beautiful job on that, as well as he also replaced this chip here while he was at it. So thank you again, Kevin, really appreciate that. And so now, finally the big moment. Let's get this thing installed and see if it works.
So Bobby has just rushed home. He doesn't have a mic on. He's gonna give this a shot.
It's the last one. J10. All right, so now, moment of truth. Going to connect this. Okay, pop this. Holy shit. The fact that the beacon is firing means that it's gonna work. Okay, let's start with up and down.
Why aren't you dancing? I'll dance for you. You're welcome, Rich.
This is huge. Oh my god. Oh god, thank god. I didn't want to do this anymore. Okay, so one more thing I'll show you that I still am indebted to fix.
Gotta fix that.
No, on this. The guy who ran the new charger for this, apparently that was one of his diagnostics. He ran the new charger, but he wrapped the wires around the lift. So if I go up too high, it'll rip the wiring harness, rip that right out. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Now that the major hurdle was out of the way, I had a few loose items around the machine that also needed some attention. So the last one was changed on 6/16. I like to add the date and the hours, so I'm going to put the date and the hours on the new filter. believe this is a better filter that I've got. This is a 20 micron filter and this is a 10. This should do a little better at filtering. Okay, so now I've got the date on that and it's signed. Put some grease in these, one on each side. I also discovered this. This is the extension cord that feeds the platform, and I thought maybe I could just tape it, but there's bare wire exposed here, so I need to fix it correctly. I cut this apart, soldered it, double heat shrinked it, and then I taped it up with electrical tape to seal it up. I also placed some cable conduit on the edge just to keep it from wearing through like it did before. While doing this, I noticed this clamp is broken, so I'll have to take care of that. I have to get these wires out and run them correctly, so let's take care of that next. I'm going to cut these wires at the splice point on the side. Alright, so I started off by printing these little templates that I could fit on here, keep trying. It took me 3 different tries till I found the one with the right angle, right length. But these are just quick, like 5-minute prints, and that way I can rapidly iterate and find which one is right. And then once I was happy with that, I printed this. This is a replacement mount for that. Looks like that's gonna fit quite well. And this bracket has impregnated carbon fiber in it, so it's very strong. Should probably outlast the lift. Time to get that in. I pulled the control board back out and sprayed both sides with a special coating designed for electronics that protect them from the elements. This will just ensure that moisture will not corrode or short circuit the new components we just installed. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check that out. Yeah, it's all tucked in there. Looks pretty good. Okay, let me show you what I'm trying to solve here. Now these, when you pull on it, you'll see that that's pulling in. And so this is, now that I fixed this one, see, that's solid. So what's happening here is when you pull on it, you can see it's stressing this whole linkage out. So if I put some spacers in there, I think that'll help the longevity of this part, because everyone's going to pull on this to open this up. Like, there's no other handles, it's just why these get broken. So with these washers in here, distributes the weight to the rest of the puck, and I think it has a better chance of living. There's still some spring for it to lock, but that bottom bolt, the bottom nut will hit the washer and distribute the weight on this, which is way stronger than this bracket. So let's fix this side. And I have to say, what a fantastic feeling. Project from start to finish has probably been almost a year now. I was trying to help him with it remotely before I knew exactly what was wrong, and the person who was troubleshooting it was doing a terrible job, and I was trying to help out. Probably been in my hands for almost 6 months now, so oh god, it feels so good to have this done. You know, just mentally it weighs on you. So this is going to be good to have it, you know, checked off. And there probably was easier ways to fix this, but you know, I was determined to figure out what exactly was wrong with it. It turned out to be those 2 chips on that board. I think it's a pretty common problem because I have another board that I bought from eBay that had the same chip blown up and same symptom. I feel this is fairly common for that component to fail and take out the microprocessor with it. It's done. I can get rid of it. And, you know, I've done a lot of other stuff to it, but it's just going to help with the longevity of it. Didn't have to fix those other things, but, you know, like I said, I like to make things right, and I want them to last a long time, and it's going to be my buddies. And since once your friends figure out that you can fix things, you always fix them again. So I'm just really making it nicer for myself in the future. Anyhow, that's a project that's done. So thanks again for watching, and please consider subscribing. Bye-bye. Just when I thought I was done, I found one more bracket that needed repair. I also noticed this cable that's getting crushed. Luckily there's no bare wires, so I should be able to easily fix this. It just needs to be pulled up and tied so it doesn't get pulled down and then crushed when it's all the way extended. There we go. There's the replacement bracket. Those go on tight, but loose enough that can still sway back and forth as this goes up and down, because that has to change angle. So I'm really happy to say with that, this project is officially wrapped. And this is another project that was on and off for months. And that's why I film these out of order and delay their releases, because you never know what it's going to take to solve the problem. And I really want to have a complete solution when I come to you guys with how I fixed it and what the problem was. It's all done. So it's finally going home, and that's a great victory. But before I take it home, I'm going to use it around here just to fix a couple things. So let's get started on that.
Look at all those olives! That flat bar isn't flat anymore. Careful. You couldn't have balanced that any more perfectly.
That's crazy. right, it's time to come get the cleanup crew. Come on, guys. We got some treats for you. Yeah, come on. The bunnies are coming.
Come on, guys.
Come here. Come here. Hi. Come on. Oh, there we go. Hi, come on, guys. Look at all this. Look at all this for you to clean up. How did that get put there?
By magic.
Oh, they're so happy. Sir, do you have anything to say for yourself? Sir, can I get a quote? How about you guys? Can I get a quote? Leia? No, don't eat it. Once again, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. Always appreciated. And we'll see you on the next one. We cut the tree, and now we're gonna do some other stuff.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that ponytail. Look at that. Look at that hair action. Future Bob is gonna just love this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Look at his hair, guys. Bobby, your hair is amazing. You too.
And rolling.
Just broke that.
What? Blooper reel.
Of course, there's sirens.
Don't hire Bobby to fix your shit anymore.
This is intense. If this had a soundtrack, it would be ba da 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 ba da da ba da da ba da ba da.